Hey guys, this is KitKat Paddywhack, and we are back for another episode of Dragon Age 2 Let's Play. So before I do a recap on the previous episode and say what we're going to do in this episode, I'm going to pay a quick little visit to the Arishok to let him know that I murdered a bunch of his Kunari.
I should let this continue. Why do you bother me, human? The dwarf paid you. There is no more. Your kind thinks selfishness and want are normal. This city, all of it, leaves a bad taste.
If you despise this place, why haven't you left?
Since we arrived, I have seen nothing but greed and weakness. Dwarves, humans, elves, just festering. No order, no goal. You are one of the few I have met with any ability. And yet this too was random, a result of selfishness. I cannot fathom how a mire like this can be justified. You say we should leave, but how can you bear to stay in this chaos?
I should confuse him.
Why would anyone want to change it?
You like it?
It's a city of people living their lives, for good or ill.
Karistan are soldiers. The Qun made it so. They can never vary from that assigned path, never be other than they are meant to be. But they are free to choose within that role, to accept and succeed, or deny and die. Glory is clear and defined. You allow chaos for good or ill, but one is clearly superior. Can you see how that certainty would benefit this whole city?
He's free to choose to obey. That isn't contradictory to you.
He chooses to be, as do we all, long before any of your meaningless freedoms are presented. I am not the one to educate you. I did not intend to land here. But this city may demand certainty. I suspect we are done, human.
I've had confrontations with others in your command.
There have been a number of incidents, but you must mean Arvarad, found dead after tracking Cerebos. I thought nothing could threaten Arvarad.
You're not angry?
A mage is dead. That is what matters. The rest is impressive, but do not repeat it.
I don't think Kirkwall would do well under military rule.
The rule of the Qun is not military. It is discipline and order.
How is that different?
To your limited understanding, it is not. You fear soldiers that arrive to remove your pitiable vices. But they do not control Kunari. The Triumvirate divides and governs. One is nothing without the others.
I've had confrontations with others in your command.
But do not repeat it.
I believe a member of the Chantry intended it to happen.
Friend and enemy blend together in this sea of filth. I can barely discern one group from another. But as this clearly means something to you, I acknowledge the risk taken.
Cerebos chose death over leaving the Qun.
That is good to hear.
That is all you have to say?
I will not insult Cerebos with the suggestion that making the right choice was difficult. I expect as much from every Kunari. I doubt Cerebos earned a greater honor in his life than my reaction now.
You guard your powder carefully.
It is a tool that can only be allowed to exist under the ordered authority of the Qun.
It could benefit many people.
It does now. Just as swords benefit warriors, but are not given to children. Well, your children.
Farewell.
Panahedan, human.
So if you guys haven't noticed already, I actually got a new microphone. And I'm really happy about it because I got this microphone when it was on sale. And now I don't have to sound really nasally, which was a huge problem with my previous microphone because my previous microphone was from the headset mic from a Siberia V2. And it was my fault that I was pretty stingy about getting a microphone at first, and I can imagine that my highest viewed video is of course naturally my first episode. So now I can imagine that probably half of those people dropped my series immediately because they probably thought it was crappy. Or the rest of the series was gonna be crappy. And I'm just a newbie, and I was kinda hoping new viewers that show up would kinda understand and cut me some slack a bit. But anyways, in the previous episode, what happened was we met up with Javaris to follow up on the black powder promise. Turns out Javaris was lying to Arishok, and he never made a deal with the Canary for the black powder. And so I won some respect from the Arishok by claiming that I was paid some money, and I guess I got some brownie points by having Fenris show up and surprise all of us with speaking of the Qun. And so how he manages to be bilingual, you'll find out in the near future. And then another thing that happened was in the quest of shepherding wolves, with some footage that was accidentally not recorded, we were given an assignment by Sister Patrice, who is a Chantry sister, and had a runaway Canary mage named Cerebos, but in this case, she gave it a name called Ketojan, and she gave me the assignment of escorting him out of Kirkwall and return him to his kind. Except the problem is, his kind did not take it very kindly. What happened was that the Canary said that Cerebos belonged to the Canary and he must decide whether he'll die or follow the Qun or something like that. And then what happened was Cerebos would rather die by following the Qun than turn away from the Qun. So he accepted death honorably, and I was kind of upset that he still died. He still died in the end. I mean, what the heck? The Canary leader said, "Oh yeah, and you gotta die too." And I'm like, "What? Why?" And it's like, "Well, he clearly talked to you, and that's a problem. So we gotta kill you, and you should feel honored." And I don't feel honored at all. So I ended up wiping out the whole team pretty quickly. And the reason why I was upset was on the first playthrough, what happened was I killed the Canary squad first, kill first, ask questions later, and then it turns out that because I was framed and blah blah blah, and it's suspected that Sister Patrice framed me and intended to have me killed, so then citizens of Kirkwall can be mad at the Canary. But it failed. And I had to talk with Cerebos and ask him like what he's gonna do, and then he decided to commit suicide by setting himself on fire because he'd rather die following the Qun again. And apparently I think the problem was that he no longer had a master to oversee him, so by that logic, because he has no role, or rather the chain or the master of his chain was lost on him, that he must, I don't know, cease to exist. So I mean, at least this part I was more satisfied because at least I don't feel like all my efforts were for nothing, and this time he willingly took death instead of setting himself on fire, so that was okay. But now in this episode, what happened is I decided to pay a random visit to Arishok. Because what happened is, for the Worthy Rival achievement, you have to get 5 invisible brownie points with Arishok. 3 of them available in Act 1. Another 3 available in Act 2. And yeah, I think that's about it. And it's feasible because if you don't exactly agree with everything the Arishok does, then it's probably advisable that you just do the first 3 points in Act 1. One of the respect points being bringing Fenris with you when you first meet the Arishok, telling him that you were promised prophets. And then the third one being that you tell him that you wiped out a bunch of Qunari for the whole shepherding wolves incident. But what you saw earlier was that I bought a bunch of ability points, skill point, upgrade potions where I get free points, but those things are pretty pricey. They cost about over a dozen sovereigns, so they're not really cheap. And now I think about it, I probably regret it, because now I'm wondering if I have enough money to afford the deep expedition. But now since I have these ability points, I should probably reconsider whether or not I should manually assign abilities to each of my companions, because now I can't really tell if they're just going to be focusing on their few skill sets and only focus on upgrading the power of it. So I might as well just carefully oversee that as well. But also in this episode, we're gonna finally go meet up with Anders. We're gonna go meet up with him in the chantry at night. And that's about as major as it's gonna get in this episode, because it's a particularly long quest given the time slot I'm allowing in this video.
You must really like the Hawke family.
Why do you say that?
You came all the way from Lothering with them, didn't you? And they're not even your clan.
Humans don't have clans, Meryl.
Exactly. You came so far together, and you didn't even have a keeper to make you get along.
So your keeper tells you to stop kicking each other, or she'll turn the Arabelle around?
Sometimes she also warns us to stop pulling hair.
I don't know, that kind of gives me the impression that the Dalish are like little kids. Literally, all of them.
Bad people come out at night. It would be good to get rid of them.
Thanks for reminding me, Meryl! Like everyone else.
I saw Karl go inside a few minutes ago. No Templars so far. Are you ready?
Yes, let's get this over with.
Didn't see anyone suspicious out here. Let's do this fast.
All right. I'll handle the talking. You watch for Templars. When we find Karl, just let me talk to him.
I'm kind of hoping maybe I'll find something that's in the chantry at night that I won't be able to find in the daytime. Oh yeah, there's a door. And there's a crate. Okay, so probably nothing dumb like a companion armor upgrade or something. Well, better speak to Karl.
Anders, I know you too well. I knew you would never give up.
What's wrong? Why are you talking like...
I was too rebellious, like you. The Templars knew I had to be made an example of.
No!
How else will mages ever master themselves? You'll understand, Anders. As soon as the Templars teach you to control yourself. This is the apostate.
No!
You will never take another mage as you took him.
Yep, Ender's possessed. Yeah, I already played this game, so I already know he's possessed. But if you haven't played the game, yes, Anders is possessed. If you played Awakening, then you must be familiar with the voice of justice. I'm not talking about like the intangible concept of the voice of justice. I'm talking about Justice, the character, your temporary companion you got back in Dragon Age Origins Awakening DLC, where Justice possessed the rotting body of a dead warden. I thought he was okay in an Awakening. I mean, he's like kind of fine and dandy, maybe like stiff sometimes, but he was okay. And in my Awakening playthrough, I left him behind at the keep, and I didn't think my Vigil's keep would fall apart, even though I spent a boatload of money to upgrade it. But then I find out that Justice left the body of the dead warden and floated away somewhere, and what do you know? He floated into Anders somehow.
Anders, what did you do? It's like you brought a piece of the Fade into this world. I had already forgotten what that feels like.
I thought the Tranquil were cut off from the Fade forever.
When you're tranquil, you never think on your life before. But it's like the Fade itself is inside Anders, burning like a sun. Please, kill me before I forget again. I don't know how you brought it back, but it's fading.
Karl, no.
Maybe we can find a cure.
Can you cure a beheading? The dreams of tranquil mages are severed. There is nothing left of them to fix.
I would rather die a mage than live as a Templar puppet.
My sister calls being tranquil a fate worse than death. Give him peace.
I got here too late. I'm sorry, Karl. I'm so sorry.
Now, it's fading. Why do you look at me like that?
Goodbye. We should leave before more Templars come.
That wasn't normal magic you just did, was it?
This is hard to explain. When I was in Amaranthine, I met a spirit of justice who was trapped outside the Fade. We became friends, and he recognized the injustice that mages in Thedas face every day.
And that's different than a demon.
Just as demons prey on the deadly sins of mankind, there are good spirits who embody our virtues. Spirits of compassion, fortitude, justice. They are the Maker's first children, and they have all but given up on us.
This time in my playthrough, I'm gonna piss off Anders.
What does this have to do with your eyes glowing?
To live outside the Fade, he needed a host. I offered to help him. We were going to work together, bring justice to every child ever ripped away from his mother to be sent to the Circle. But I guess I had too much anger. Once he was inside me, he changed.
Anders, you bastard.
You have this spirit of justice living in your head.
It's not like that. He's gone now. He's part of me. It's not like we can have a conversation. I feel his thoughts as my own. Not even the greatest scholar could tell you where I end and he begins.
This is obviously difficult for you.
I thought I was helping my friend. He would have died, I guess. If that even means anything. And he wanted to help me. He knew what mages have suffered. But my anger, when I see Templars now, things that have always outraged me, but I could never do anything about, he comes out. And he is no longer my friend Justice. He is a force of vengeance, and he has no grasp of mercy.
Can you bring him out at will?
No. He comes only when I've lost all power over myself. It's a madness, a frenzy. I only find out after what I might have done.
Can justice ever be separated from you?
I don't think so. The only way a spirit has ever been separated from a living host is by its death. The curse is of my own making. All I can do now is hope to control it.
Is there anything I can do for you?
You're the first one I've ever told this. Thank you for not running away. My maps are yours. As am I, if you wish me to join your expedition. I thought I was done with the Grey Wardens. But if you have any need of me, I will be waiting here.
Okay, so I didn't really piss him off yet.
I had a friend like you once. Got in all kinds of trouble. Dragged me along. Didn't think I'd be doing that again. I got a bit weighty the last time we talked. Sorry for putting that on you.
You can tell me anything.
Anything? Be careful what you offer. I hope I didn't seem too selfish when I told you about justice. I didn't know what would happen. I figured a willing host, a friend. It had to be better than playing the demon and haunting some corpse.
Still creepy.
Fine. What would you do? How would you try to stand against the Templars? If you're born with magic, they hear about it. They search your little rat-spit village and find you. They tell your parents they'll be thrown in prison if they ever ask about you, stripped of their rights in the eyes of the Maker. And if you run away, they hunt you down.
Hey.
Again and again and again.
You're starting to glow again.
And since yours is the only head here and I don't want to rip it off, I should stop. Yes. Sorry.
You should be.
Besides, we have so much to do before the deep roads. Next time, I'll try to keep to more pleasant topics. We have much to do.
So, middle of the road, jester, joking, sarcastic, and I come off as a dick. Oh, well, it doesn't really matter. That's my goal, honestly. Pissing off Anders, making him rivalry. So then, all for the ultimate plan of using him. So, this will be the end of the episode, and then the next episode, we'll quickly pick it up again. Next time, when we go to the Hangman and have a nice talk with Varric. And if you like this particular video, you can like it and share it if you want. Or if you want to stick around and see this Let's Play to the end, you can subscribe. So then, until the next episode, see you later.